Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Leonard. That's the way you can follow personal Twitters of the show's Twitter page is @_JD Sports. Tell them how to listen to the SoundCloud.
They can listen to it by looking up the description.
Dwight, this week,
Just saying.
we have the Cowboys and the Eagles to get into. Not good weekends for either of us on that one. Kirk Cousins being Captain Kirk. Eli being Eli.
Sounds like a good weekend there.
Cincinnati, you might have something to say about them.
Also, a roast is in order.
There was a fight maybe another roast was happening.
So a second roast is in order.
A lot more. There's a coach in college football that I have a problem with that we're going to talk about. And unfortunately, somebody we grew up watching passed away in the past week. So,
and then a third roast is in order. There's
getting
a lot going on.
Into the NFL.
Yeah.
A rematch of the NFC Championship happened Sunday night. I had a hard time trying to figure out what the big storyline of Week 2 was because it's all over the place. It's the NFL. This happens, especially early in the season. It's really hard to start placing things in importance.
Yeah, I mean, outside of our teams losing.
Right.
I mean, I guess the big story this week was Dallas losing.
Right,
big,
Dallas.
But
I would think the bigger game would be
definitely.
the rematch of the NFC Championship because
it was just a boring, slow, meh week.
And it wasn't even just, it was what it wasn't. Anyway, so getting into the game, the rematch of the NFC Championship last year, I picked Green Bay. You picked Atlanta?
Yep.
Yeah. It was in Atlanta. They opened up the new stadium. It was really cool. Did you see how the roof act? That was, I think it's
nice.
It's really neat stadium. Green Bay had both their starting tackles hurt, you could tell right from basically the second series. The first series they moved the ball down pretty quickly, but after that it seemed like Atlanta was in their backfield and Aaron Rodgers' face all day. And Atlanta's offense is averaging 37 points in the last 5 games against this Green Bay defense.
That surprised anybody.
You're not going to win many football games by giving up 37 points on average against anybody, especially the team that you're probably going to have to play at least in the playoffs, if not for the NFC.
Guaranteed,
Again.
Definitely.
So, their tackles were out, so I don't know if their offensive struggles. And Jordy Nelson...
The offensive line already sucks.
Sadly, right. And Jordy Nelson, sadly, seems like he's going back down the Jordy Nelson route where he missed the whole first half of this game due to injury again after 2 plays.
I saw that.
And I hope for his sake, they need him healthy, but for his sake, he's fun to watch. So that's not cool. But they didn't get anything really moving on offense again until the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much well out of hand. Their defense, though, look, I was thinking about this today before the show when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about with this game. Who are they paying? Aaron Rodgers, but your offensive line's no good, so you're obviously not paying them. They literally have a guy that they drafted as a wide receiver as their starting running back, so you're not paying him. Jordy Nelson?
I don't know, are they?
But outside of him, you're not investing a lot of money in the wide receivers. Maybe your tight end Bennett, but I don't think he took a whole lot of money. Your defense is not good anywhere. So if you're paying anybody a lot of money there, you made mistakes.
Yeah. Outside of Clinton Dix,
only
because of his name.
I think he's a solid safety.
But the only reason I know his name is because of his name.
Yeah.
I can't name anybody else out there.
From college when he was at Alabama, and he was a really good player in Alabama. He is the only consistent guy in that defense, but at the same time, what does that mean?
Yeah. Before when you just said who are they paying, I thought you were going to say something else, which is when's the last time anybody really gave some respect to the Packers defense? Because off the top of my head,
the year they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers against. Remember?
Did they really? Or was Aaron Rodgers?
No, it was down the stretch. It was in the playoffs that defense stepped up and became a way better defense than when they were in the regular season.
And any of those players still there?
A.J. Hawk? No, he's not there. Who's the other one?
Clay Matthews.
Yeah, Clay Matthews. Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
Right.
Clay
Matthews,
Other than him, no. Yeah. And nothing against Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews is just a shell of what Clay Matthews was then. Wasn't that 2011 or 2012 that they won that Super Bowl? We're 2017, so we were 6 years. But look, that position,
still that threat out there.
That position, like a running back, it takes a toll on your body, and at some point you're just not going to be what you were before. Not that he doesn't make as much of an impact, but again, so him and Clinton Dix say they're the only ones. Are you really any that good, or is just everyone around you playing that bad that you are just making every single play out there?
Yeah.
Julio has absolutely torched them. I mean,
He torches everybody, but yeah, especially
them more than anybody. They have put, I think it was like 7 different corners on him now in the last 5 games.
They don't have anybody.
And he is just boom,
So
boom.
what's wrong
boom,
with Clinton Dix
boom,
then? Like,
boom.
why?
He's a safety.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, why don't you
come up and cover? Malcolm Jenkins does it for the Eagles, but he was also a corner in college, so I guess that's a little different. I don't know. I mean, hey, you know what? Try it.
Right.
What's the worst that happens? He gets 25 yards or a touchdown.
That's
seems like what he's been doing.
I don't know. Atlanta just doing what they want against Green Bay, and this week was no exception.
And Aaron Rodgers, it was.
Are we at relax yet?
He had no time. I mean, he had no time. He had absolutely no time standing back there. Look, they're 1-1.
He never has.
I know, but it was worse this week than usual. They're 1-1. It is look. They play Minnesota at home this week, so they beat Seattle at home, which that's a whole different story now. Maybe Seattle's not that good. That's a whole interesting thing to get into. But you start to look at it a little bit.
We're good.
You start to look at it a little bit, and this is going to be a week that's going to be telling for the Packers because they're going to basically need to win as many division games as possible if they look like this the rest of the season. They need to get healthy, obviously. You need to see what happens with Jordan Nelson on the health end.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm expecting, I asked, are we going to relax yet? But there's not even a reason to bring that up. They're 1-1. I mean, you just always expect he's going to figure it out. And
Atlanta,
he's going to put up 300, 400 yards.
Eventually, at some point,
it's going to happen. They're going to be like, oh, Green Bay's, they're going to be a threat. They're going to be right there in the mix again. But
Aaron Rodgers,
we're in another situation where he got no help on his team.
Aaron Rodgers, with no help, that you just said, and I mentioned earlier about the running back being a wide receiver. He threw 40 touchdowns last year with everything that we're talking about.
Without Jordy Nelson.
That's incredible. So we're going to definitely see what happens here down the road. It's not something that they can't right the ship on, but they got to, I mean, defensively, you're not winning against teams like Atlanta anywhere, in Lambeau or in Atlanta, if your defense plays that way.
And I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm just trying to think. Who did they sign?
Bennett
in the
as a tight end, that's it.
Well, yeah, but I meant defensively.
No, I know. But
that's what it came back to my original point is when's the last time they were respected? Because I don't feel like they're ever a conversation. Outside of Clay Matthews, they're never a conversation.
And
it's kind of like the Texans. Well, they have better defense, obviously, but I'm saying it's more so a focus on one player overall. But to the Packers, a lesser step because you're looking at literally just one player. Even though Julius,
Charles
Woodson is gone, he's on ESPN.
Even though Julius Peppers is older, I mean, he was there the last 3 years, and he was a consistent defensive player for them for the last couple of years. I'm not saying he's someone you need to base everything off of, but still, what else do they have right now? I mean, he was making plays for them last year. He made a sack for Carolina this year. That's better than anything I see what's going on with their defense out in Green Bay right now. Better defense and obviously more talent around him. He's going to get less people on him. I understand all that. So I get it. Maybe he doesn't get that sack if he's in Green Bay. But my point being is he's obviously shown he still has the skills to get to the quarterback.
Definitely.
And they're having problems everywhere on defense right now. So to let him just walk and then end up getting a tight end,
I mean, it's cool that they added another weapon for Rodgers, but again, your struggles are defensively and your offensive line, but those are the two big things, and I don't feel like they clearly haven't addressed it because I see no changes.
I have all the faith in the world in Aaron Rodgers that he'll turn around like we were talking about.
He's going to carry them.
So you're going to have, it's just going to be something to be seen, and they're going to have to, I don't know how you address these things between now and the end of the season, but you have to figure out somehow defensively to address something, and offensively.
It's internal. You can't get anybody.
So offensively, you have to hope you get healthy on the offensive line because that was the obvious reason that they weren't scoring points in the game Sunday night. I don't want to just bury Green Bay here without at least for 1 second saying that Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, the rest of that offense, Atlanta's offense looked like they even though it was against the Packers defense that were, but they look really good. And
my Super Bowl slump prediction.
The week before, right,
off.
absolutely. And the week before, when they didn't look all that good against Chicago, they came back and just absolutely righted that ship. I don't think there's anyone having questions, myself included, on them at any point. And Matt Ryan looked like that elite quarterback that he was looking like all of last year. So we'll see about that storyline moving forward as well.
They're unstoppable again.
If their defense, can do what they did against the Packers there,
just enough.
And that was a lot of pressure. And yeah, they'll definitely be obviously another team. As you said, the slump thing we might be a little off on. Moving on.
Uh-huh.
I know this one is a little touchy for you.
What's that?
It's only week 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not like the rest of America and saying that Dallas is done.
There's people that are saying that? I
don't know if people are saying that, but look,
I saw the jokes.
I don't think that. I think that people overreacted to Dak's first bad game, like first real overall.
That's not.
But do you know my point? People are overreacting to Dak on this weekend. Zeke's actual first real bad game. People I think are overreacting to that.
Zeke definitely had a bad game, but
the offensive line had a bad game.
I wouldn't say Dak had a bad game. It was just for Dak standards.
I think
it's no because there wasn't a single instance where I was like, you know what, Dak, that was all you. I mean. Okay.
There was definitely a couple instances I felt like it was all on Dak, but at the same time, Denver's defense. Look, this isn't a Dak thing to me. This is not even though I felt like Dak had mistakes. This isn't a Dak problem. This is Tom Brady is 2-5 against this defense the last 7 times he faced them with his lowest quarterback rating. Against any team.
Right.
So
and
they get pressure on the quarterback. That's what they do.
Yeah, definitely. And you said it was kind of touchy. It honestly, like,
I was
loss
joking.
is a loss.
I was joking.
I know. But
it's week 2.
Losses 1, 2. It did bother me. I was just like, that sucks. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. We're playing a hell of a defense. And
Trevor Siemian did what I told you I felt like he could maybe manage them. Right, While I still picked Dallas, I thought that he could manage them to what he needed to do against that defense, and he did. And that, to me, would be the bigger concern for Dallas than it is offensive. Offensively, you can come back and adjust these things against
1,000%.
It's good to play a defense that good and struggle this early in the season because you can see what your mistakes are and how to fix it. Where defensively, while you can do that also defensively, I felt like defensively you saw the holes, and that's where they needed to kind of worry about a little more when a guy like Trevor Siemian is having that much success against them.
I mean, offensively, I was just like, so we had an off game.
That's not going to happen.
I mean, Zeke had a bad game, but it is what it is. He got checked for once. Okay, fine. Dak. The only thing I can say negative about Dak is that some of these passes have just been off, and this is the second week in a row. I felt like it was still more in the first week than the second week.
He had his one
interception, which he doesn't. Okay, and he's had like none his career. So I'm exaggerating, but
he only had 2 or 3 all last regular season.
Literally, he doesn't turn the ball over. He throws the ball while he gets it away. So whatever, and one of those interceptions was tips or whatever. It wasn't on him. As far as defensively, I'm more so on this overreaction the next day where everybody was saying, "Oh, Dallas's defense." They don't watch my show apparently because I've been saying
we already
for the past
knew this.
year and a half, especially this year, that we lost some corners. We have nothing but rookies in our corners and our safety. Rookies. We have nothing. We have like 3 rookies out there, and they got burned every single play of that. There
was a lot of open receivers on Denver.
I was a surprise. Our biggest weakness for the past, it's been more than 2 years, but for the past 2 years has been our secondary. Our secondary isn't any good, and it only got worse this offseason, so I'm not surprised by that. I mean, is it embarrassing considering the quarterback who did it? Yeah, kind of.
I don't think Trevor Siemian's that bad, though.
But it wasn't Tom Brady that went out and did it. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers who went out and did it. It wasn't Drew Brees. It was Trevor Siemian. So it's like, damn, that's kind of ridiculous.
Okay, I'll give you that.
To me, I'll give you that. That's abysmal. That just says that anybody can literally do that.
Okay, I agree. I agree with that.
That is the biggest problem with us.
And
that's going to be the problem, especially if we go to the postseason.
But
what's going to hurt us? Our secondary, just like it did last year, and that's why we lost.
We have both. You talk about it as being a Cowboy fan, but we both talk about how we don't really always trust their defense. And I think last year watching Carson in his first game against them, Carson Wentz in his first game against them, and seeing that
hype up your defense, but anyway.
No, I'm saying Carson on the offensive side. He scored with Dallas's offense, which I did not expect him to do last year. But that was my first. Well, maybe Dallas's secondary does need a little work, obviously.
It's trash.
And now here they are,
even worse.
The next year, and it's not any better.
It's even worse. We lost people that were actually kind of okay.
Before you started talking about the defense, you talked about Dak's interceptions. I have a question about on the interceptions.
Okay.
Zeke Elliott did not try to chase down.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
I was going to ask you. I find that to be because
I wasn't okay with that. The one I let slide I think it was the second one, not the first one. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I get that.
And I was like, okay.
He was a little away from the play. The one thing I don't like in football,
he didn't even try.
Not even just football, in any sport. The one thing you don't want to see from your players, just do not quit.
Right.
And on those plays, he quit. And that
just give some effort.
That sucks to see because he's a guy that I have at least tried to defend in. He has a lot of weird things going on around him. On the field, off the field, his body language on the field isn't. His body language on the field isn't always the best, and I'm still always like, yeah, but look at what he's doing. Look at what he's doing. Yeah. And this is the one game where it was like his body language is. It's like Odell. You know how I still defend Odell, and I'm like, but his body language still. Yeah. It's the same thing with Zeke to me. And you would like to see on those plays guys like Odell and Zeke. If you were going to be like Cam, a certain way, one way, but people don't like how Cam is like how mad he gets when a play goes bad or how happy he gets when a play goes good, right? But people also then hate when Zeke just quit. Like, would you rather Cam just quit then? Because people are killing Zeke for quitting and then getting on Cam for caring too much. You know what I mean? Where that's always been my thing in defense of Cam is that I feel like with Odell and Zeke, people
just be professional.
What I want from them is to give that emotion when they're doing well, but give that emotion when you're not doing well as well. Show me that you care just as much when you're not winning.
Which is professionalism, which is what both of them
did not do. Well, Zeke did not do in this situation. Odell, you're right, at times does not exhibit. So you say you don't like it? That's all I wanted to ask. I don't think it's like a
no. It was BS.
I don't think it's going to define him or anything.
I think it was BS, and I think he needs to show that effort, and especially the one, just try. But people were saying, oh well, and you kind of brought it up as well, the distracted. I don't think it was a distracted thing because week one he ran all over the Giants, so I need people to just be quiet about that.
That defensive front seven is so good, and they were in the backfield more than Dallas has seen in how long? I mean, Dallas hasn't had that problem in a game in 3 or 4 years.
Right.
So
if this happens the next couple of weeks, then there's a conversation. Zeke, what's going on? But no,
but I'm not going to be blaming Zeke if there's somebody hitting him 2 yards in the backfield every single time the way they're. He only had 8 yards, but from contact he had like 17 or 20. So Zeke was getting tackled from the second he was getting the ball, and he was still making a yard or two out of it almost on every carry. So.
My thing is breaking news. The Cowboys defense sucks.
Yeah.
And for once, the offense had a bad game.
I don't want to harp on it because it is just week 2.
That's why literally just for the 2 reasons I just said, Cowboys defense sucks. Breaking news. And for once, we had a bad game offensively. I wasn't worried about it. I was just like, okay, it was a bad game. Move on.
I've defended Dez since Dak's been there, and I think that Dez takes a lot of the defense away, and that's why his numbers haven't been anything, and that Dak is just finding those other receivers. But this is the kind of game where when your offense isn't moving, I would have liked to see Dez get a little separation or find some little holes, and I didn't think I saw the athleticness or the openness from Dez that you would, when the Cowboys, at least when years past, when the Cowboys would need that one big catch or that spark, or Dez was that guy creating that space or getting that catch, and I just didn't see that out of him in this game, and that's something that might be concerning moving forward, but at the same time, if the rest of the offense gets their numbers the way they did the whole time, then I will still just think that he's taking that much of the defense away and he's opening enough for the field.
I just blame Dak. I really do with him.
For not finding Dez?
I do.
But I don't think there's... I always think that 2 or 3 people are covering
We had a year in a couple of games, but Tony Romo got to him. And I don't feel like Dez has changed. I really don't. I really don't think he's gotten any better or any worse.
No,
even if I say Dez took 4 steps back, I don't think Dak is trying to get it to him. I just don't. Outside that first drive in week 1.
Week 1, with the Giants when he missed him twice, right? He missed him twice.
Yeah.
He was really covered.
Yeah, right.
That's why I missed him.
Right. And But outside of that, he doesn't try. He tries with Cole Beasley, even with Jason Witten. Jason Witten's numbers down.
Jason Witten got a touchdown.
Right, but I'm saying Jason Witten's overall numbers went down.
But again, do you think that's because defenses are honing in on those two? So then you have Cole Beasley wide open.
No, that doesn't even make sense. No, because
who's the other guy? Terrence Williams, right?
Yeah, Jason Witten. All three of them have been on that team for how many years?
You're right.
No. The one thing that changed was the quarterback, so you have to say it's the quarterback.
But they're getting more wins and scoring more points.
So then I guess I can't complain, huh? It's weird. It's just the situation we're in.
I am not happy with a loss ever, so I'm not going to pat the Eagles on the back in any way, shape, or form. But they didn't give up 42 points, so...
I guess that was a shot.
Yeah. Meh. We'll take it. No, it wasn't a shot. I'm saying I will take it because I legitimately said before, I just hope they don't give up 42 points, as good as that offense looked. The Eagles actually defensively contained the run game a lot better than you can expect. They only gave up one big run, but that big run happened to be a backbreaker. Carson had a fairly good game, but he had two bad passes, and one ended up being like a 37-yard gain, and the other one ended up being the pick that changed the entire game. So other than that, though, Carson, I thought, really had a lot of really good passes. He did really good in the pocket. The offensive line broke down a little bit, which they did in the middle of the game the week before, right? So that's, again, something to watch for. And I felt like the run was abandoned for the second week in a row, and I don't like that. Again, I'm not a big person.
I love that you say abandoned, like y'all ever went with a run.
No, but I mean, I thought that.
Andy Reid left.
But would you think that? Well, even when Andy Reid was there, he was abandoning the run. But would you think that when they go out and sign a guy like LeGarrette Blount, and you have Sproles and Smallwood, wouldn't you think that? All right, maybe they're going to try to run the ball a little more.
I've been saying that for years. I said that when you got DeMarco Murray.
So my point is that
This is y'all. This is what y'all do, y'all.
I don't see...
Apparently, I guess it's the owner's call because Andy Reid ain't there no more.
Well, Andy Reid...
And it's not the personnel, it's not the coach. What's left?
Well, Doug Peterson brought the entire same system that Andy Reid brought.
Doug Peterson, does he not? He doesn't have his players in his system. Is that what it is? Come on.
No, it should be his players in his system right now. 2 years in.
I was waiting. I was waiting for the system talk.
He has the same...
Chip Kelly.
He has the same system that Andy Reid is running.
So is the owner. He just doesn't like running the ball.
Maybe.
Clearly. Then why do you keep paying these running backs?
I don't know. I would have liked to see them try to run the ball a little more on Sunday.
You would think. I'm just saying, because apparently they make decisions based on other teams. You would think that they would see the success, because supposedly the Eagles have a great offensive line. You would think that they would see the success that Dallas has had overall the past 2 seasons, and some change, that they would want to go with that. And supposedly that's why they got DeMarco early, because they wanted to get him away from Dallas.
That's why I think they got him. I didn't like that. Well. And we came on the show and I talked about how much I disliked that. We're not going to go through that again.
That worked well. You're right, though. Why do you keep signing these running backs and not doing anything?
But not even on top of that. So a running back they had, Sproles, right? Sproles,
and you didn't do anything with him.
2 of his first 3 carries went over 10 yards.
So you're doing him like Adrian Peterson.
I'm not 100% sure.
So your offensive line sucks because you said, let's say, I get it.
You
don't have a good offensive line.
Maybe, but I'm not the one who said they were the best.
That must be it.
I still think they're a good offensive line, but I don't understand why they're not running. I do think that...
You get on my nerves.
Me?
Yeah.
Why? I think they're a good offensive line. I said that before the season.
You get on my nerves. They don't have. I don't think they have the best offensive line, but they have a good offensive line.
I think they have a good offensive line.
I was just joking about the whole Adrian Peterson thing because you blamed on the offensive line. So I'm blaming on your offensive line. Your offensive line sucks.
But either way, I would like to see them run the ball more, because when they were running the ball early in the game, they had success. Yes, in the second half...
Most teams that do have that balance do have success.
Right. And in the second half, when they ran the ball, was it only for a yard or 2? Yes, but they only ran the ball like 4 or 5 times in that span. So it's not... I don't think that's enough sample size.
I'm glad you're giving the Adrian Peterson argument that I gave last week, which you said, no, it was just the offensive line. Not to reiterate that for like the 3rd time now, but it really
actually what I said last week is that they were down 10 points 15 minutes in the game, and the Eagles were tied until 10 minutes left to go in this game. The argument is completely different with last week and the Saints, and this week with the Eagles.
Really not.
Rewind the tape, everyone, and somebody can tweet it at them or hit them on Facebook. I said they were down 10 points or 15 points within 10 minutes of that game, right? Did I not say that? And then I said that's why they
sucked, and that's why they weren't running. And I said for the first 2 plays of that drive, they ended up doing that.
And I said when you're down 10 or 15 points.
They weren't down 10 or 15 points the second drive of the game.
But I told you
the third drive of the game.
I said less than 10 minutes into the game they were down 2 scores. That's why they abandoned the run in that first game. That's why they abandoned the run in the second game too. They were down 4 scores going into the second quarter. That's why the Saints abandoned the run for the second week in a row.
Quarter. I'm talking about. Okay.
No, in the second.
Changing the narrative.
All right, go back and watch it. I'll play it for you after the show. Anyways,
it's fine.
The Eagles were tied up until 10 minutes to go in this game. I did not understand.
Narrative when it's the Eagles. I understand.
I will play it for you. That's fine.
That's fine.
Speaking
it's always a different narrative when it's the Eagles.
No, you don't. So you want me to play it now? I can go find it. I literally said because they were down so quick.
I know exactly what you said, but they weren't down that.
But they were down 2 scores less than 10 minutes into that game. That's why they abandoned that run. The Eagles were tied.
That's why you abandoned it all together? That's why you abandoned it all together?
The Eagles were tied less than...
You said both of those things,
yes,
actually.
I understand that. They have a bad offensive line.
That is my point. And I said you can't base it on the bad offensive line.
Well,
and that was the whole argument last week. Is that
I didn't base it fully on the offensive line. They were down 2 scores. 10 minutes in.
Okay. Bottom line is the Eagles are doing what the Saints are doing, which is not utilizing their running back.
Is Travis Kelce?
Their offensive line sucks.
Because Gronk apparently got hurt, but he said he's gonna come back.
I'm over this hype with this guy.
Do you think Travis? No. I think Travis Kelce is more of a wide receiver like Jimmy Graham was with the Saints offensive line, but he can block better and athletically he gets a lot of sweeps like runs.
So who you taking?
Right now, Gronk or Kelce? Kelce, because I think he can play 16 games. But if you can tell me Gronk plays 16 games, I'm taking Gronk. I'm taking Gronk if you're going to give me 16 games. When's the last time?
They both play 12 games. Who you taking?
Gronk, if they're both playing 12 games.
Let me quiet.
But Travis Kelce hasn't missed a game in 3 years, and Gronk hasn't played a full season in 5. Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
So that's why I would take Travis Kelce.
But no.
Well, you asked me. But yes, you're telling me if I need to take one for one game and I know they're going to stay healthy all game, yeah, I'm taking Gronk every day of the week. He's a freak. He's a polar bear. He might be the best tight end of all time.
You can have what's his name again?
Travis Kelce. I like him.
That's fine. I'm not hating on him, man. But I mean, if you want him for 16, I'll take Gronk for 12. Cool.
If you're the Patriots, you can make it work with Gronk for 12, anyways.
That's fact.
But if you're another team, right? You're gonna take Travis Kelce basically.
Gronk.
No, I'm saying if you take Gronk out of the picture and you're anybody, you're taking basically Travis Kelce over any tight end right now because I think in the last maybe 12, 13 games of his career, he has went from being a really good tight end to a top 3 tight end in the league.
It's not saying anything these days. There ain't nothing left.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. There's a lot of split tight ends now.
Jimmy Graham fell off. Jason Witten's a little older. He doesn't get the ball as much.
Greg Olsen just got hurt, but Greg Olsen was up there with them.
Who's your tight end?
Oh, Ertz. But Ertz can't block. Right, he can catch, but he can't block. That's why they have Selleck.
It's not a whole lot of great.
But Travis Kelce, and also in the Jimmy Graham conversation, he's more athletic than most tight ends as well, just like Jimmy Graham was. So, but Kelce's
not a whole lot of great tight end play.
Kelce had a ridiculous fourth quarter and basically willed them to that last touchdown, and then he was incredible for Kansas City. And Alex Smith is playing with the most confidence I've ever seen Alex Smith play with. He had a really good game, not as good as his first week, but still a really good game. The Eagles held Tyreek Hill, which is pretty good, and other than one run, Hunt, they held Hunt pretty well. So I was impressed in that sense, but Alex Smith, if he plays like this, Kansas City's going to be hard to beat.
I was about to ask you a question that is way too early.
Yeah.
Are they Super Bowl bound?
You know what? It's fun. We just talked about Denver. Denver's 2-0 with that good defense.
Yeah.
And the Raiders are also 2-0. So that AFC West is going to be so fun to watch.
I did see that is
Alex
the most competitive division out of all of them.
Let me put it this way. If Alex Smith plays the way he did the first 2 weeks all season long, as good as Carr is and as good as that defense is in Denver, I think that they have to be Super Bowl. They are incredible. They are almost unstoppable if he plays that well because of how much talent is around him.
Yeah.
But it's only 2 weeks in. I think he beat 2 teams that you at least think are going to be in playoff contention in the Patriots and the Eagles. You at least think one's going to be definitely in the playoffs and the Eagles are going to be at least in playoff contention.
Yeah.
And they made easy work of the Patriots at home in Foxborough, and then they beat the Eagles, by 2 scores at the end there. If they're this good all season, I don't see how are they going to be beat.
I'll agree. I'll leave it at that. I'm not saying yes or no. I understand. I'm just curious.
I think that them and the Raiders are going to be fun to watch for that division, and obviously you can't count out Denver with that defense. But I think one of those three teams.
That's a crazy division.
It's gonna be fun, right?
Hopefully it sticks like that. I'd like to see.
Me too.
Actually,
battle it out.
Yeah, cool.
Imagine
one of them be a wild card though.
What if they got three teams in? You can get three teams in from the same division.
I was about to say somebody's gonna play one of their rivals 3 times.
That would be crazy, right? That'd be fun, and that would be fun to watch. It's happened many times. The Eagles and Cowboys have done it how many times? Sticking in the NFC East because that's where we started with the Eagles and the Cowboys. There.
What's up?
Eli Manning.
Who he play for?
Remember in the beginning of the season, I asked, "Do you think it's time for them to start looking down the future at least in this year's draft?"
Yep.
Is he like solidifying?
Solidifying?
Yeah, solidifying. Yeah, you're the college guy, Joe here.
We both got the same job. That's cool.
That's true. That's true. Is he solidifying?
I'm just saying.
Is he solidifying that argument that
was
people
such a shot on me
could make on your own?
Yeah.
Is he solidifying that argument that
I don't know.
it's? I mean, because look, this is the 4th time in 5 years that they've started 0-2, and he has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns in the last 7 years. He's had one good statistical year in those 7 years.
I was gonna say this is him.
I know.
Ask me at the end of the year if it's over.
I'm not saying is it over. I'm saying is it time? If that's all you're missing, though, doesn't it seem like that's all they're missing? That and Brandon Marshall doesn't catch a football.
That's what they've been missing seemingly since they've won 2 Super Bowls.
That's true.
So that's what I'm saying. Wait, look. Whereas I'm listening and I'm hearing you. It's funny that we're saying they needed a quarterback when they went to Super Bowl and won twice, but
I've never been an Eli.
Narrative.
I've never been an Eli believer.
Narrative. I'm still trying to figure out why Brandon Marshall's out there. I don't know who he plays for. Odell. I don't know who he plays for. Like these 2 great weapons.
Odell's played in one last game and he has 4 more catches than Brandon Marshall.
I'm just saying.
Brandon Marshall has 2 more drops though. Brandon Marshall had a big drop in the 3rd quarter that could have changed the entire game. I mean,
so that sounds like it's not Eli then.
That play was not Eli, but Eli also took 7 points off the board of them by getting a delay of game on the 1-yard line by just being confused.
So you have a problem sometimes.
His coach.
Two Super Bowl wins.
His coach destroyed him for that one, and his coach said in the press conference, "We have a veteran quarterback that has played in 2 Super Bowls."
And we're going to talk about him like he's a second-year quarterback.
That we thought
Eli Manning, he gets no respect.
He said that because they asked him, they said, "Why didn't you call a timeout as the play clock was running down?" He said because I had a quarterback that has played in 2 Super Bowls and I thought has been in that situation many times and would be able to handle it. And he did not handle it.
Eli Manning's career is Dangerfield.
Took him off the 1-yard line. I tell you. Took him off the 1-yard line and they had to kick it.
I tell you, I get no respect. I got 2 Super Bowls. I get no respect.
And I call him Eli 2-time because I always sarcastically call him Eli 2-time after he throws 3 interceptions in a game. I'm always like, Eli 2-time.
And he's got that stank Eli.
Stank
Eli look.
And you know what? They're going to go put up 45 in Philly this weekend because that's how football works. That's how the Giants work.
That's what I said.
They're going to go put up 45 in Philly on Sunday. They watch them put up 45 in Philly because that's what the Giants do.
That's why I said when the season's over, ask me how I feel about the Giants and Eli Manning, and then I will answer.
But Eli's only going to have like 170 yards. They might put up 45, but Eli will still have under 200 yards.
This is going to be the same question every year until he just retires. Should they get rid of him? I mean, who you going to get? He got 2 Super Bowl rings, and next thing you know, he's competing for this year's Super Bowl, so it's going to be like...
Shout out to your boy, Matthew Stafford.
That's my boy. I thought he was your boy.
Got a big win on Monday night against Eli.
That's your favorite quarterback?
Well,
outside of...
Phillip Rivers.
No.
We're going to talk about Phillip.
I was going to say Joe Flacco, but yeah. So he's your 3rd favorite quarterback.
Your favorite Joe Flacco is 2-0.
He is my Andy Dalton's number 1 for me. Joe Flacco's definitely number 2.
And Joe Flacco's playing the Jaguars this week, so your boy Joey might go 3-0.
And they're in England, so it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, right.
I really don't know what
to do. Yeah. Anyways.
Literally, that was a tough pick.
I picked the Lions to beat the Giants last week because...
That's your favorite quarterback.
No, because I did not believe in
Did you
Giants.
Did T.O. cry? Were you crying about him?
No.
That's my quarterback.
That's
the highest paid quarterback.
And he made some really good throws. He looked pretty good against that Giants defense. Put up 20-some points.
You're not putting a butt out there?
I was really impressed with their kicker, Prater. He made a bunch of really good kicks.
That's how he subliminally hates on Matthew Stafford. He brings up the kicker.
No, I just thought it was impressive how at the end of the half they had to rush him on there. He made a really nice kick with the clock running. It was just impressive how it was all set up and done. Matthew Stafford drove him down the field to get to that point, so I'm going to give him that credit if he needs it.
Just saying. Okay.
Giants offense did nothing.
Did he justify that contract yet? No. For them, they did, I guess.
I mean, according to you, justifying that contract's just like kind of making the playoffs and not going any further. So like that's fine.
To me, justifying that contract is who else?
What are they 1-1 or no? They're 2-0 because they beat Arizona, right? So they're 2-0. Hey, look at that. Detroit 2-0.
I mean, there ain't nothing out there other than Kaepernick, and we know ain't nobody signing him. So where else are you going?
Speaking of our favorite quarterbacks,
Colin Kaepernick. I don't know who he plays for. The couch.
Captain Kirk led a game-winning drive with under 2 minutes to go for the 4th time in his career, and he hit Terrell Pryor in the end zone to win it. After Todd Gurley made a ridiculous play just the drive before, jumped over a guy, dove in the end zone, took the lead. It was great, or tied the game. I don't know. Anyways, it was great. Till Captain Kirk stole the show.
Great. He knows what he's talking about.
Now, Captain Kirk apparently is going to play for San Francisco next year, so do you think that was just him trying to show his people down the Bay Area, just, 50, 60 miles down?
Nah, Washington's just going to tag him again. And
I don't think they can. I think they literally use their only 2.
I didn't know you got 2.
You only get 2.
Why?
One's a franchise tag and the other one's the
so now he signs the actual 4-year deal, and he pulls a Fitzpatrick and just disappears?
Next year, yeah.
Alright, got it.
Yes.
Alright. I just want to make sure we understood each other.
So the Rams did not look like world beaters like they did the week before.
St. Louis out here. That was a joke.
Jared Goff looked human.
Who?
He didn't look like the robot that was out there the week before. But they still played well. Their running game actually was half decent, but it was against Washington and they still lost, so really how well was it?
It's their offensive line. Alright, Todd Gurley. Stop playing Gurley and just...
He played well.
Oh, okay.
He had a good game.
Did he win now?
He had 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I stand corrected. Good for him. I don't know, because I paid absolutely this much, which is about...
Do you think Captain Kirk
of attention?
Do you think Captain Kirk driving his team down again though, scoring a touchdown? I mean, was they playing the Rams, or is this something that you think we can get from Washington here coming down the future, where they're going to be in the mix with the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles?
You know, when you asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I said that they were going to be last in the division, but the way that the Giants are looking right now, they actually might just switch spots, and it might be those 3. I mean, the way that the division overall looked this past week, I mean, I'm just saying, look like trash division again, like it was a couple years ago. But we're going to see. It's still too early. I would still say the Giants over them, personally, just because I'm not ready to back out.
Me too, and I don't think that...
Giants win the next 2, and they're 500, and Washington loses. And, the whole thing changes. So, no.
It was also against the Rams.
I'd still stick with the Giants.
It was also against the Rams.
Right. I'd still stick with the Giants to figure it out.
Okay. I agree for now. Speaking of LA, the Chargers had their first home game. It was in the soccer stadium where the Galaxy play. The combined attendance of the Rams and the Chargers was 4,000 less than the attendance at the USC-Texas game the night before.
That's absolutely disgusting.
The NFL
but
in
is
LA,
anybody surprised?
But Oakland sold out. The NFL in LA isn't working, but Oakland's losing their team. Hey, by the way, some people on my Facebook, before we get into the Chargers thing, some people on my Facebook got really mad at me, and I just want to ask you,
because I saw this.
We've had this conversation before about leaving early from games, and
I'm listening, idiot.
Yeah, that was dumb too. This dude was so like.
Somebody called him an idiot. That was the whole thing.
Internet tough guys.
Keyboard warriors. I keep telling you, bro.
Yeah, it is a guy that I barely even know. That's the funny part. That's why he said it, because it was somebody I actually knew when I said idiot, because that's not something you say to people. Anyways, they sold the game out, so everyone was there for kickoff.
Okay, in fairness, let me say, I only watched a little bit of that game, like the first half maybe, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's sold out. It's sold out. It's sold out." They did keep saying that. So
it was 24-7 at half. They just took the kicked the field goal to make it 24-7 right at halftime. Okay. They came back from half, and I noticed right after half that it was more empty than usual after half. But I thought new stadium. I thought new stadium. People are trying to find the bathrooms. Exactly, looking around. They're the game. We have 10 minutes, whatever. 10, 15 minutes later, I noticed it is still a quarter full, and that is it.
And it's only 24-7. At half it was.
And before it even got to the fourth quarter, when it was only, I think 31-17 at this point. Which, again, at that point, yeah, probably over. But still, it was still 1/4 full. And so all I said was I was disappointed to see that the Raiders fans, while they were up 30 against the Jets, were rocking. The place was going nuts. And this
the Raiders
who are losing their team against the Jets,
who are blowing them out,
who are supposedly the worst team in the league, or at least one of the bottom 3 worst teams. I was just disappointed to see that they are still sitting here supporting their team in a blowout.
They always do.
Where Atlanta, in a NFC Championship rematch, where Aaron Rodgers was only down 2 scores and he makes it a 3-point game at half, because we've never seen Aaron Rodgers score 2 touchdowns at a half before, could have made it a 3-point game.
Do you know who got the ball at the half?
Green Bay. I watched.
So
they literally could have made it a 10-point game.
On a kickoff.
They could have made it a 10-point game less than 10 seconds into the next half. You're absolutely right. No, but my point was...
Falcons punted, Aaron Rodgers gets the ball, and touchdown, we're in there.
And I just thought it was odd that the stadium was empty, and I was disappointed in Atlanta in the fan base because it's a new stadium. And we had the conversation. Yeah. We don't find it super acceptable to leave early on many occasions. But then the guy said that he would actually do it as well, and I said, why would you pay? He didn't respond to this, and I would like to know, why would anybody pay $90+ to sit in the last row if you're only paying $90, by the way, but to pay $90+ to watch one half of, I don't care if it's a blowout or if it is a 10-point game. If you
at least stick
you're not experiencing the NFL game. You're not experiencing the game. You're experiencing you went for the opening of the stadium, and are you there for the sport or are you there for the event? Because they are 2 different things. And what I don't understand is, why are you paying $90 to go watch half of what you paid for?
Right, and do they realize how ridiculous that sounds? Even we're saying we would stick around for most, if not the entire game, but in general, how ridiculous does that sound? I'm sticking around for a half of a football game. Half of a football game. Do they realize how many games change in one half?
And my bad.
They never heard of first half adjustments. They never seen the Cowboys. We're notorious for blowing halftime leads, and it's a whole different game. How many times are we up and I say it's not over, then next thing we know it's a tie game or the other team's up? I've said that notoriously for the past 3-4 years.
If the score is 24-7.5, then that means the other team can do the same thing in the second half.
It's not 48-7.
There was only a half play. That means the other team can literally do the same exact thing in the second half that your team did in the first half. That's the point of playing the full game.
Green Bay could literally not do anything else, or they could do a lot
Wasn't Green Bay up 3 scores on Dallas at halftime in that playoff game last year, and that game came down to the last series of the game where Green Bay had a score? Yep. Green Bay was up the amount of points
in Lambeau.
It was in Dallas. But my point being is, Green Bay was literally up.
That just proves your point even more.
But Green Bay was literally up that number and almost lost the game. They had to score a game-winning touchdown to win that game. So I was just, and all I was doing was just saying how I was disappointed for Oakland, and then I got absolutely destroyed by Atlanta, and I was disappointed for Oakland's losing their team, and here they are still supporting their team, and they have to sit and watch cities like Atlanta.
ATL has to go to work tomorrow.
Don't buy tickets to the game then.
Right. That was my thing too.
Why are you going to a game at 8:30 at night?
I saw the comments.
If you have to wake up for 6 a.m. for work the next day, that's a horrible argument.
If that is your
why'd you spend $90, bro?
If that is to be a part of the spectacle, to be a part of the event, why did you go? Why are you wasting your time?
But again,
I'm glad people out here that are rich
to be part of the
$90+ to go to a half of a football game.
To be particle in the spectacle in the event. The event literally is a football game. That's the whole reason the stadium's opening, for a football game.
You don't want to beat traffic, bro? I'd beat traffic.
2.5 hours early? That's like
I hear you. I know.
You don't leave a movie halfway through because you want to beat the traffic. You leave it 5 minutes early because you want to beat the traffic. I'm not following along.
Yeah, I know, dude.
People got really riled up over it, and then got me riled up over it because I was like, it's really not that big of a deal. I was just sad for Oakland. I was just sad for Oakland. That's all it was.
I post stuff
That's
about
all it was
on my Facebook and shit, but not like you.
It wasn't even a big deal.
When I see stuff like that,
that's why
I'm like,
it really wasn't even that big of a deal.
Why are you still doing it?
I wasn't destroying.
Why do you ask questions? Why do you make? I don't even know.
I wasn't even destroying specific fans of Atlanta. I was just saying, in general, I found it very...
You're not going to get the Atlanta fans that are even going to respond to you.
Right.
It's going to be...
It was some random dude who just didn't like
It's going to be a Jacksonville fan that's going to be saying something like...
Anyways.
I don't know why you still do it.
LA's not working for the NFL.
Oakland was.
Oakland was, but now Vegas is.
That's going to be some shit. How depressing is that going to be when Vegas doesn't work out? And then we're going to see Oakland turn out for the next however long while they're there.
Gonna need a.
How depressing is that going to be?
Do the Raiders move away and back?
I was going to say, how long does it take until Oakland gets another team?
Do they move away and back again? Do the Raiders move away and?
Tell you what, Oakland doesn't accept another team that's not the Raiders.
No, exactly. They will never.
So,
they will always
might be onto something. They might get somebody else. That's a damn shame. Shout out to Oakland. Shout out to them. They deserve it. Die-hard fans.
I legitimately want to know. I'm not even going to try to troll you. I actually just want to know how you generally feel about the Chargers in Miami game. Jay Cutler gets his first win as a Dolphin.
Yep.
Phillip Rivers had good numbers.
Yep.
Pretty much played well.
Yeah, he did.
And then for the second week in a row, his kicker misses a game-winning.
Some guy named Young Ho.
A game-winning field goal. Jay Cutler played well enough to keep his team, obviously, and win the game. Jay Cutler actually showed some emotion. Did you see that?
No.
He had a smile on his face. He was jumping up and down. It was weird. I didn't like it. I want to go back to the Jay Cutler that looks hungover with a cigarette in his mouth. Because, this is
like
the Jay...
Brown meme.
This is... Yes, exactly. This is the Jay Cutler that, everyone's always like, oh, if we get this Jay Cutler, he'll be really good. He's showing emotion.
3 years.
And I'm like, no. Go back. Go back. I don't like this. This is odd and
I don't like these feelings.
You're going to roll an ankle when you're jumping. You don't look natural at this. The happiness doesn't look good on you, by the way.
Right. Maybe he was just happy just because.
He played well.
They were just happy because of Florida.
He did not play as well as Rivers did.
Right.
And he got the win. But
this has kind of been my argument for we're now year 3. Well, at least 2 of these years. It's not always Phillip Rivers.
No,
it's just it's the circumstances with the Chargers, which
I call them out every time it is, and I call the team out every time it is, and I agree.
These first 2 weeks, than not. Well,
these first 2 weeks,
more often than not, it's the team that is just garbage.
This season, for sure,
he's always in a situation, which part of it can be his fault. But he seemingly is always in a situation where it's okay. Phil Rivers' fourth quarter comeback. Why the hell does he always have to be a fourth quarter comeback? Because his team is garbage.
They lost 8 games by 1 possession last year.
Right. So it's not always him. This is why I don't think he's a bad quarterback. This is why I think it's ridiculous how hard you do get on him.
I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just think he's overrated.
Maybe, but a lot of things aren't his fault.
No, I don't disagree.
Last year, 8 games.
Yeah.
Really?
Look, four of those games they were up 20-plus points, and then I think 2 of those games...
That sounds like a defensive
2 of those games they were down 20-plus points and came the whole way back. So
I agree. It was bad, but then it turned good. And then it turns out in these past 2 weeks, it comes down to kicking. The team is just garbage. He has nothing.
If their kicker makes that field goal, or if he makes one of the 2 field goals he missed, one was blocked, but if he makes one of those 2 field goals, they beat Denver, who just handled Dallas pretty well. So that would have been a pretty big noise if you think about it.
Speaking of, because I don't even know if we touched base on this, but I need a...
Yeah.
I guess he's roast point. Well, he'll be roast 0.5 because I'm not going full roast on him. Phillip Rivers, I said I'm not staying with this team.
When they moved, I know I wasn't.
But then he stayed. So
he didn't want to move his family.
About that. That's why I said it was only a 0.5 because that's all I really have to say. So 0.5 roast. All right.
Money talks.
Anyway, heard that. So I ain't mad at him actually. Maybe you know what? Erase. Let me get that eraser.
No, hey, look, Dwight. Anytime you want
eraser.
Anytime you want to play, anytime you want to get on Phillip Rivers, you let me know, and we can do that.
Money. I heard money. Cool.
Somebody you really do want to roast, though. Somebody that I picked to lose because I thought that they were bad and not that the other team was all that good. Even though I do think the other team has a chance in their weak division to win. The Cincinnati Bengals are the first team since 1939, since Dwight loves stats, to open the season at home and not score 1 offensive touchdown.
That's horrible.
Would you like to roast Andy Dalton, Marvin Lewis, or all of the above?
Oh, my goodness. I promised them last week.
You did.
So I guess this is
You're going to let them know.
This is roast number 1.
Because the Bengals deserve this. And just before he goes in, before the season, did I not have them as the last team in that division? Did I not say they were going to be this garbage?
I don't remember things like you do, so I don't know.
I did.
Assuming you did.
And you were mad at me because you said I disrespected them.
That's right, yep.
Yeah.
The Ravens, yep.
Because I just knew. I saw it.
And then they lost the Ravens that were depleted.
They lost 20-0 to the Ravens.
Okay, you know what? You just had a bad game. It's at home, which is weird, but I mean, it's a bad game, 20-0. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's see how it goes moving forward.
The Texans?
Oh, I get it, because the Texans have such a great defense. That must be what it was.
No.
That's not what I saw when I watched that game.
Not at all. That was a horrible offensive both sides.
Both
sides.
You know, and I was watching that game, and I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if it's an Andy Dalton situation, because some of those passes were absolutely horrendous.
Yes, they were.
Absolutely horrendous. I don't know where the hell he was
Sometimes
throwing.
his offensive line didn't even block for him.
Fine. I really did focus on that. I was focused on Andy Dalton because so many of his passes were like way over or way out of bounds, and it was like, what the hell was that?
They were bad.
There was one play in particular. I after the fact, I kept trying to find it. I couldn't, but there was one where there was like a slant towards the left of the sideline, and he threw it like 10 yards,
well
like
above,
10 feet in the air, well over. And it was like, what the hell? Like, he wasn't rushed. Like, nothing happened. He literally just threw it, like, way over this receiver. And I was like, that was kind of weird. And then he did something similar a little later on. And I was like, that's weird. But then I look at Marvin Lewis, and I look at some of these play calls that are going on. I hit up, speaking of, shout out to Jeremy King, my Cincinnati Bengals fan, who now lives in Atlanta. I hit him up. I was like, I mean, there's still time for you to be a Falcons fan. I mean, I know you just moved to Atlanta. And he was like, no, I'm too loyal. And then I had a little conversation with him, and he said, it's time to get rid of the head coach. In which I agree with him, because some of those play calls, as much as Andy Dalton had some shitty throws, and that goes on him, some of these play calls are absolutely abysmal. And like my boy said, they have too much talent offensively to be this horrible.
A.J. Green, Nixon, the running back. Dalton
you still want to see Andy Dalton.
Dalton can be a good quarterback. I was just saying that. Dalton
Jeremy Hill is a good running back.
So you have Hill and Nixon, who are both really good running backs. A lot of talent there.
Right.
A decent tight end, Eifert, as long as he stays healthy.
Right. So what is the issue? I mean, at the end of the day, there's a common denominator. Why have the Bengals been this trash or not gotten over the hump? There's a common denominator. It's not always Andy Dalton. It's not everybody else, because they have more talent offensively and even defensively. They got some decent pieces. It has to be the head coach. And then, the next day or 2 days later, they got rid of the offensive coordinator? Yep. Yeah, that's going to solve everything. Nope. No, now you're starting even
But isn't this
fresher,
isn't
which
that
is
how that
even
starts?
worse.
Don't they usually start firing coordinators,
this is why
and then
I'm
eventually gets that head coach by the end of that year?
I'm literally convinced, and I convinced myself, and this is what needs to happen, because the Bengals are trash. There's no excuse for it. I think by the end of the year, if that, he's going to be gone.
Well,
Marvin Lewis will not be the head coach past this year.
Not to refresh your memory, because
they are garbage.
You said that,
and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I might let one game slide, but when you do it back to back against not that impressive teams, especially one offensively or one that is completely depleted, so you don't expect anything out of that, i.e. the Ravens, and they're both at home.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
Against two depleted teams, because the offensive line of Texans gave up 10 sacks the week before, because remember I talked about how the Texans are missing an offensive lineman, their best offensive lineman.
You have so many weapons, and you can't get in the end zone. Okay, so you find an offensive coordinator. Marvin Lewis, you're the one that's always there.
I said it before the season. I asked you, is it time for Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis to go, or is it time for one of them to go? And we came to the conclusion of, because you said to me that you thought they were going to be better than, whatever. Point being, I came to the conclusion of saying, you always get rid of a coach before you get rid of a quarterback, especially with that talent. You're not getting rid of Andy Dalton. So obviously, I agree with you.
He's still a talent. You still think he could do well.
And this segment is a reminder of why you need to pay attention to JD Sports, because we called this before the season. I've been talking about this for weeks now.
It's factual.
I agree with you.
Marvin was to go.
I agree with you. And I think that the Bengals have all this talent that you're talking about. I think even defensively, when Burfict gets back,
who's that defensive lineman that I really like going out?
With the hair?
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I know who you're talking about.
That's going to bother me. Really good. Like, they have some talent.
But when Burfict gets back...
Pac-Man Jones, I mean, yeah.
He could still play, though. He can still play
last week.
He can still play.
No, he had a big hit.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it was.
But when Burfict gets back, that defense is only going to get better. That defense is always good. They only gave up 20 points to the Ravens. They only gave up, 10 points or 13 points, whatever it was, to the Texans.
Right.
So you would think in 2 weeks, 33 points is all their defense has given up,
so
and yet
that's why you get rid of the offensive coordinator. I get it. I get it. But when he's gone and the shit continues, what's it come down to? Are you going to blame Andy Dalton or are you going to blame Marvin Lewis? It's Marvin Lewis. It's time for him to go.
It's definitely something we're going to be watching in the future. But in the locker room,
terrible.
They're not even saying, because remember I said to you last week, is it A.J. McCarron time, their backup quarterback? Did you hear the rumors coming out of the locker room?
No.
Apparently they are players would like to bring in Colin Kaepernick. That is from Pro Football Talk.
For backup or like starter?
As a starter, they want to replace Andy Dalton. That is from Pro Football Talk. It came out Sunday night, right before the Sunday Night Football game. I saw it on NBC during the pre-show.
I'm not ready to...
Football Night in America reported it. I'm not reporting. I'm just saying that's what...
That's fine. Even if that's true, I'm personally not ready to give up on Andy Dalton.
I'm not ready to give up on Andy Dalton either, but I do think if you're going to go in a different direction, then why not? Go with Kaepernick.
That's a completely different quarterback, so I mean, I guess. I don't think... But... All right, fine.
Quickly, I want to get on to college football, and then we have something else to talk about, and then we get to do our picks. College football.
Let's say, how many more roasts do I have? I have like 2 more.
I have a small roast. College football. Can I give my feel-good story before I do the roast?
Yeah, because we have a lot of roast to get into.
My feel-good story is
some positive.
The University of Iowa built a hospital right outside of their football stadium this year, and they made the highest floors, the children's wing, and you can see over the football stadium. So during the games, they can line up on the windows and literally watch the football games right there from their windows.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So what the fans do now is they all turn around in the middle of the game at one point, and they all wave to the kids. And the kids, awesome. It's one of the coolest things. And I love college football. Like, I genuinely love college football for things like this. It's
awesome.
47,000 people waving at a bunch of kids who have all sorts of cancer and disabilities and all that. So I just found that to be fantastic.
They get that moment, they feel like everything's about them. That's awesome.
Shout out to Iowa, the University of Iowa, for doing that, and then for being smart enough to say this is something that we need to do to put it all together. You know what I mean?
Like just turn around. Let's just have this moment. Yeah.
The schematics of just how simple this is, but yet complex it is, and how easy they did the right thing. So shout out to Iowa. That's my feel good story of the week. I find that to be one of the coolest things that I've seen all year so far.
Yeah. Shout to them.
I was playing Penn State this weekend.
Shout to those kids.
On ABC at 7:30. It's a primetime game.
Oh.
I have been liking to see Penn State rebuild the program from what it was, from the way it fell.
Trust the process?
Just to get back to at least being a consistent top 5 Big Ten team. Because college football is better when the names are there. There's no question. So I was always when Bill O'Brien was there, I was kind of scared they were going to get too good and start really, really doing some damage. And then when Franklin was there, I was like, I've never found Franklin to be all that good of a coach. He's a great recruiter.
Okay.
He did something on Saturday night, James Franklin, the head coach of Penn State, that these teams pay other teams, lesser schools, the Division II schools, to come play them because there is no such thing as preseason college football. So.
Right.
Alabama pays, whoever to come, and they'll beat them 64-10, blah, blah. Penn State played, I forget who in the beginning of the season. It was a MAC team, and now they play another one, Georgia State, on last Saturday. And in the Georgia State game, they were up 56-0 with about 10 seconds to go in this game.
Okay.
Georgia State took their team out there, lined up for a field goal because they were in field goal range, and when they went to kick the field goal as the ball was being snapped, James Franklin decided to call a timeout to ice the kicker.
Okay.
He made the one that they called the timeout on.
Of course.
He missed the other one.
Of course.
I find that to be the most classless thing you can possibly do. That's classless. That's not even... That's for college football. These kids have absolute. So
you should ice the kicker in
a 56-0 game, Dwight. It was 56-0. It was 56-0 against a school that literally, if they went home,
they didn't want them to put any points on the board.
It's disrespectful. It is not.
I don't disagree.
It's not okay.
I think it's funny.
It's absolutely not. I am not okay with it at all.
I think it's funny.
I would be.
No, I hear you. It is ridiculous, but it's funny. But at the same time, if you don't like it, block the kick.
No, make the kick. Make the kick.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But this
is what I meant.
But it's not. Their best player wouldn't even make Penn State's practice squad. You paid the school to come here. Let them get 3 points. It was 56-0 with 10 seconds to go.
56-0 looks better than 56-3.
It doesn't. That's my bigger point here.
I know.
I cannot. Yeah. It's indefensible. He tried to say it's because we had our fourth unit on and we don't have a fourth unit for our kicking, so I had to call timeout, which is absolutely BS because your team just somehow on their own decided to line up in field goal block position while you were calling that timeout, just all on their own. All these fourth string player guys
they were doing
just stood around and like, oh, well, let's get down like a field goal block here, like and just happened to be that you didn't change anybody, by the way, from timeout to timeout because they went back and called you out on that one. So I never really liked James. It's super class. I've never liked James Franklin as the football coach. He's, like I said, I will give him.
You know what?
I will give it to him. He's a great recruiter. I've been saying that since day one, and I thought he's not been a very good football coach. But this is just something that this has nothing to do with his coaching ability, with his recruiting. This is just a classless move on him. I have no clue even why would you do it? Like
I mean, usually I can't say that. I was gonna say usually
there hasn't been anyone that can defend him.
No, I wasn't going to.
No, I know, but I'm saying I haven't found somebody. It's crazy.
I was going to say, and I can't even. Right. I'm usually on the side of, if you don't like it, figure it out, stop it. Right. But
it's 56-0, bro. You're kind of looking at the dude a little funky.
That's a coaching decision. That was...
Right. Like, you're looking at him a little funky, like, come on, dude.
There's nothing the players really could
have done. Like, come on, dude.
That was all you. Like, why call that timeout?
You know, if you had...
Because, okay, even... You know what? No, scratch that. You know, yeah, this is rose number 2. Scratch that. Because... Okay, so... I need to call timeout because I don't got my right personnel, I don't got the right formation, whatever the hell excuse I want to do.
Right.
But you're up...
56-0.
What difference does it make if you get called
There's
on...
10 seconds left.
Flag. Illegal formation on a defense.
Right.
First down.
Whatever
Who cares? Right. Why does that matter?
Right, because then it's what, 56-10? Or 56-7, I mean? So at worst, 56-7, you still win the game by 50 points.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
So, and that's kind of where everyone's at on this.
Run through the tape. Finish the fight.
Yeah, I guess. I just...
Yeah, I mean, there's no... Yeah.
I've been kind of...
That Penn State is Grammy for that.
I've been done with James Franklin for a long time just because there's a lot of interviews I see that I'm not like. There's a lot of play calling that I just find to be really bad. I think that he is the full reason that they did not win the Rose Bowl last year in that game against USC. And this is just one more thing that I can be like, well, there you go. But
we are
anyways
tasteless. Oh.
I think they beat Iowa on Saturday, if it's worth anything.
I do love that Penn State does the whole we are thing, even though they're not the only ones. I do just love that they have that as their slogan because you can literally just throw anything in there. Like,
you can absolutely throw anything.
Remember that time you and I went out once and
yes.
Wasn't it, what was it, the Rose Bowl last year? What was it?
I think it was the Rose Bowl last year. No, the Rose Bowl was... We went out for last year. No, it was in the Big Ten Championship.
Right.
That's
what
we
were surrounded by Penn State fans, and they kept chanting "We are," and I kept saying "mediocre, trash, garbage." It's just fun. Shout out to our Penn State viewers.
Last thing I want to say about
like to have fun with
college football last weekend because there's no really big games this weekend except your own team's games. Clemson,
which is Penn State, which we just roasted.
Well, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame plays Michigan State. Clemson though last weekend absolutely destroyed. Louisville, which Louisville has a good quarterback and nothing else. So, that was Clemson is putting the nation on watch. They are just as good even without Deshaun Watson with this other quarterback. So we will see that they're a team to watch moving forward. Them, Oklahoma, I think Ohio State, Penn State, both out of the Big Ten. Then obviously you have USC out west. So there's a lot of cool things. USC had a big game against Texas last week where. Went into double overtime, and Texas actually had the lead with a minute 7 left. Sam Darnold, who USC's quarterback, everyone's talking about Baker Mayfield, which I think Baker Mayfield is very good, and I think that Jackson is very good, but I think Sam Darnold is the best player in college football right now, and I hate to say that as a Notre Dame. There was a good boxing match, an actual really good boxing match against two boxers who have fought in multiple boxing matches before this.
Did you watch it?
I did. Not with you, but I did.
Why not?
I'm going away to the beach, so I had some other obligations that I had to take care of. as my last weekend here. But
a whole lot of excuses right now.
I watched the fight. It was a really, really good fight.
Did you catch the highlights on YouTube, or did you watch the whole fight?
I watched the whole fight.
Was it good quality at least?
Yeah, actually it was.
Well, that's good. Did you know the results prior?
Yes.
See, I can't watch something like that. See, you're a better man than me. I can't do that. I just can't. I have to see things live. That's just how I am. I mean, shout out to you. I mean, if you can do it and you still enjoyed yourself, that's what's up.
I'll be honest with you. A couple years ago,
personally, I just can't do it.
During the NBA Finals, I was working road construction, and I was working from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I was literally.
In that case, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was turning all of my notifications off, and then the girlfriend that I had at the time
right.
was the only person I would respond to from text messages. I turned off so I couldn't even see what people were texting me, and she knew better to even give me an update on the scores of the games if she was paying attention to it at all. And I would go home, and it was honestly the quickest I've ever watched the NBA Finals, because I'd go home and I'd watch these games in an hour and 10 minutes because I could fast forward through everything.
Right.
And it was great. It was actually the one that LeBron, because we were doing the show, that's why I was doing it. It was actually the one that LeBron lost against the Warriors when he was all by himself, when everyone got hurt in the first game.
Right.
And he had the ridiculous finals, but they still lost in 6, I think it was. So, I mean, anyways, point being. So it is sometimes better to watch sports that way, but I had no clue what was going on. To your point, I couldn't have done that. Not with LeBron, no way. I would have had to watch it live, or else I would have had to do what I did and just turn all my notifications off. But when it came to this, I was too concerned Saturday night of knowing who won this fight.
And
no one won.
So where we're at? What roast are we at?
Okay.
I'm losing count. Was this 2?
I want you to go in, and then I'm going to go in right behind you on something similar. So, please.
You know what? Let's not even go to the roast first.
Okay.
Just go. Let's just get
fight
to
was
good.
Great.
Let's get to good.
Fight was great.
It was phenomenal.
Alvarez held his own way more than people thought he was going to. He was in close boxing.
Better than what everybody outside of this show thought he was going to do.
When he was very close, when he was in close with Triple G, he was getting a lot of good shots on him. Now, Triple G, when he was running around the ropes and had him obviously at distance, Triple G was getting his big shots, and and they were a lot harder hits. Right. But I mean, shout out to Canelo for keeping it way closer than most people were giving him credit, and for when they were very close up to each other, holding his own in those jabs. I mean,
defensively, he was very impressive. He was up against the ropes a lot.
Yeah.
And he was bobbing and weaving a lot of what Canelo was trying to throw at him. Shouts to him defensively, especially. I mean, offensively, I wasn't that impressed. I mean, he held his own, but more so defensively, I was like, okay, you're doing your thing. And a lot of people got on Triple G. Even before the fight, they were saying, Triple G, he clearly has slowed up in recent years. I personally have not seen that.
The Livingston fight, I didn't think he slowed up at all. Let's go back. That was the last fight he fought. And go look at that fight. He destroyed him.
If you listen to Max Kellerman or anybody else in that broadcast,
he looked like a really, really solid boxer in all phases in his last fight before this one.
If you listen to Max Kellerman or anybody else in that broadcast, they were all saying he clearly isn't the same man. I personally did not see that. I mean, when I look at Triple G in this fight, it's not me saying he slowed up. It was me saying Canelo was just right. Canelo was just that good defensively, and he was that good at avoiding the force of Triple G.
I was just gonna say, my thought is it because he didn't just knock him out in the fifth round? Because yes, to their point, in all of his other fights, he's rocking people in the fifth round and they're not standing back up.
Well, then I guess Canelo slowed up too because he's also a knockout king.
Knocking people out in the fourth or fifth round. I was literally just about to say that. So I mean, I guess in the sense
I think defensively, Canelo was very impressive. Triple G, especially the first 3 rounds, I would say, he wasn't as forceful. I will say that.
But I think he was just trying to line him up.
Right, but then he came right back.
He did.
Especially towards the end.
Once they started engaging there, and I want to say the 6th, 7th round when they really started engaging, I mean, that got intense there for a while. And
tight.
It was
boxing.
Fun. It was getting fun.
That was...
Knowing the outcome, I was still like, I mean, I was getting loud on my computer by myself, knowing what happens.
Right. I mean, literally, I was tweeting throughout the fight. I think it was the 5th or 6th round, like you said. I forget exactly, but there was one round where they were literally just going back and forth. And I was like, and I tweet out on our show's Twitter, this is boxing. Yeah, this is the art of boxing. This is why people enjoy good boxing, which shout to that catastrophe that wasn't a real fight a month ago.
When it was,
we don't talk about that. We're talking about a real fight.
When it was at the height of American sports and boxing in the 70s,
this was it.
80s. I mean, this is what it looked like in every single fight.
Beating the crap out of each other.
In every single fight, it looked that way.
I mean, one negative I would say overall, outside of what we're going to get into but the fight in general, was that it wasn't exactly what people thought. As far as it wasn't two dudes that were clearly trying to look for the knockout with one another. I don't think either one just got that opportunity. I think they both just avoided each other enough that it just wasn't possible. Nobody got that. I'm trying to think. No, literally, throughout the entire fight, there wasn't one instance where I was like, oh, it clearly got him. He clearly got the full force of the other. He clearly collected enough where the dude should drop. Neither one of them got that hit.
My ask to that would be...
again, it was a Triple G just being slower. It was Canelo's defense.
What is Golovkin's chin made of? Because there was a couple of shots that I think almost any other boxer takes those hits from Canelo, and they are shots that put them down.
Every time.
I mean, he took three both ways, and just went, you're right both ways, but Triple G took three more harder shots. Now, Triple G landed about 10 more harder shots, but he took three more harder shots directly to the jaw that he just popped right back, his head right back focused on the fight. And
They both can take a pound.
That's incredible. It was incredible.
It's insane. And that round that I was talking about, again, I forget exactly which round it was, but I'm talking about the round where they were literally going back and forth with each other, and they both kept shaking their head and smiling at each other. Literally, both of them. I'd hit you, because and you'd smile. You'd hit me, and I'd smile. We both would just keep shaking our head. That's the round. I was like, holy crap!
And this
is the art of boxing. That is exactly what boxing should be, and that's why I enjoy it.
But
because of that right there,
what boxing actually is
the result. Which is why we need to get into another roast.
Part of the reason boxing doesn't have much traction in America.
And why UFC took control of the fighting league.
It's not corrupt. UFC isn't corrupt. Plain and simple. UFC is not worried about their next paycheck. Also might be the downfall of UFC, where they might be dead before they even start it. That's a whole different topic for a different day. But when you pay for a fight on Saturday, you want to know an outcome for Saturday.
This is boxing being boxing, dude, and this isn't the first time this has happened.
No.
Major fights, especially, this is what happens.
This happened to Pacquiao a couple weeks ago on ESPN.
Really? I don't even know.
About 2 months ago in Australia, Pacquiao clearly won a fight, but an Australian judge completely gave it to the other guy, and they called it a draw because one scorecard was obscure to the guy who lost the fight. Which, in this case, for people who weren't following, there was 3 judges in this boxing match. 2 of them gave it to Golovkin, about 115 to 110, if I'm not mistaken, for both of them. And 124.
One person gave it to Golovkin. And it was obvious that that's reasonable.
Yeah, but it was like 115 to 110. It was close. They gave it to Golovkin close.
One.
The other one, was it a draw?
There was a 114 to 114.
That's right.
Which it was like, okay, I don't see how you. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what was worse, the draw outcome, which was 114 to 114.
Clearly, the woman who did the 118 to 110 in the favor of Alvarez is.
No, she was the one that did 114, 114. There was another one that did 118 to 110. I don't know which one was worse, regardless of who
the 118 to 110 is the worst one. Alvarez did not.
I don't know. It's both disgusting to me because I had it as the first judge did, which was 3 rounds to 9? Yeah, 3 rounds to 9, which was Golovkin. I thought it was obvious. I also understood that while it's getting to the 9th, 10th, 11th round, I'm sitting there thinking I could see you making a case for Canelo, but a close case, not a 118 to 110. No. There's no way that that's possible. Even if I let that one slide, how the hell do you do 114 to 114?
The reason I would say the reason I would actually let the draw one go more than the 118 to 110 is because if you look at the numbers, while Golovkin threw a lot more punches, Canelo landed, percentage-wise landed more. Even though Triple G landed more punches, Alvarez was way more accurate on percentage
punches.
Right,
because he threw a lot
less. So to me, actually, I would have been okay.
How you base it on,
I understand that. You want to do more punches landed overall. I'm just saying there is some kind of argument for the accuracy. At least he wasn't just free-flowing swinging, where I would say that you can kind of call it a draw. In no way, shape, or form could I seen you give it to Alvarez in a landslide.
No.
And that's why I find that to be one way more disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Well, then let's let the person that put it as a tie slide. Right. Fine. The person that gave it 118 to 110. What in the blue hell were you watching?
I have no clue. Wasn't even close to that.
You know what? I forgot. This is boxing.
Got to set up for the next fight. Need a rematch.
We'll get to that.
Everyone needs money.
We'll get to that. They were watching their bank account.
Oh, somebody paid them. Well, yeah, probably.
Golden Boy. Who owns?
Obviously.
Who works for Golden Boy?
No doubt. Your boy, Oscar.
Right. Who's under that brand? Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Well, and it's not just us saying this. When you got boxers that are tweeting out, Lennox Lewis, who I respect as a boxer, he's tweeting out, I forget the exact words, but he was basically like, this is what you expect. Manny Pacquiao saying, this is what you expect, basically. This is what happens.
The reason Pacquiao did that is because that's what happened to him, yeah.
Yeah, in Australia.
He watched it. It's the same exact thing.
I don't get it, dude. And you know what? I'm glad you brought it up because this is part of the roast. Actually, I think... Yeah, it's the second thing. I was going to say the judge thing is definitely number one as far as the roast, but HBO Boxing and their commentators is the second part of this roast, which is, and not too many people even brought this up, which I don't understand, unless I just wasn't paying that much attention, but shout out to these commentators at HBO Boxing that straight up just shrugged off the result of this and was like, well, at least we get a rematch. Everybody that kept saying at least we get a rematch needs to be smacked in the face because at the end of that fight, towards the end of that fight, not even the very end, I was saying clearly we're getting a rematch.
No matter what the outcome was.
Clearly, it's that close, it's that good. We're going to get a rematch.
There's too much money involved for them not rematch.
I don't need a draw.
Anyways, for us to do this.
No, I don't need a draw to say that it's going to be a rematch. Money and the fact that everybody's invested and how good it was tells me there's going to be a rematch. So HBO Boxing, y'all a bunch of scrubs for that. That doesn't make any sense. Number one. Number two, okay, so now that, to me it's even worse now because now there's a draw. So to me you need 4 fights to say who's the better man as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I understand that.
Unless the next 2 or 3 is just a clean sweep, then okay, I guess you got the better man. Oh, but HBO, you guys are saying clearly Golovkin has slowed up in recent times. So what does that mean? Oh shit, Golden Boy Promotions has Canelo Alvarez. So what does that mean?
HBO is fully with Oscar De La Hoya, 110% on everything. That is why Floyd Mayweather stopped boxing for HBO.
So what does that mean?
That they were all in on Alvarez.
So what does that mean going forward?
That means all the fights are going to go on HBO and it's going to continue to happen.
Yes, there's a point here that I'm going with that is...
I'm not following.
Everybody's saying that Golovkin has been slowing up recently. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about the HBO and in general. So...
You think I'm like...
The next fight...
Let's break the fight, everyone make more money on Vegas?
Stop. The next fight is going to be, 6 months, a year?
It's going to be May or September because Alvarez will only fight in May or September. They're just deciding if they want to do one fight in between this or if they want to make it a year from now or if they just want to make it next May.
So guess what that means? Golovkin's only going to get older. So what does that mean?
He's only going to get slower.
So then Canelo gets...
But Canelo's just as old and he's only going to get slower too, you would think.
I'm just going off of their logic. I mean, if we're going off their logic, then if Golovkin is slowing up like they claim, then only he's going to get slower.
And they think Canelo will own him in the future. Is that what you're saying?
That's seemingly their perspective. Okay, so I don't like this whole thing, and we talked about it, and everybody's talked about it, about boxing being rigged, and this is literally the epitome of that whole conversation. Everything that went down, everything that's going to keep going down, moving forward. Who knows when the hell the next fight's going to be? It's going to happen. But
Can I piggyback on this?
Please, just take it away.
The last thing I want to say is I saw a lot of people in boxing, and it brought it to my attention. Where was Triple G's management on this one? Where was the people who represent him, the Golden Boy whoever, it's not Golden Boy, you know what I mean.
Right,
whoever is the one who promotes him. Where were they on this? Because these judges, 2 of these 3 judges have past histories with Golden Boy of doing these similar things. That has been proven. There's many scorecards that have now been brought up from past fights involving Golden Boy.
I'm making boxers, a ring right now with Golden Boy's money.
Golden Boy boxers this has happened with their boxers. So where was Triple G's management on happen? Because this can be avoided as long as everyone here does their job. But you know who else probably got paid? Triple G's partnership for not stopping that. Do you know what I mean? By Golden Boy's promotion.
That's one thing.
They're all tied in with each other, and they're all making money off of each other. And the only way to make this continue to happen is if Golden Boy is paying everybody. And as long as Oscar De La Hoya has Pablo Escobar money, he will always be the Pablo Escobar of the situation and control everything, and it will never stop. I mean, look, the people can say what they want. Oscar De La Hoya is the reason that boxing is falling the way it is because he has figured out how to monopolize off of, if no one is going to be Floyd Mayweather, which is 50-0 or 49-0, then what we need to do is rig the system so that we always have the rematch in our favor. He will always. Everyone in this committee is getting paid. It's FIFA. Everybody in FIFA is getting paid. Everybody in LA, in Las Vegas right now involved in boxing is getting paid. It is as corrupt as the NCAA and FIFA, and that is the overall issue right now.
No, I agree, and that I have 2 more points about this.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of that.
We both agree.
Piggyback off that. Last week I said shout out to De La Hoya for what he's doing, but then when you get this type of a result.
And it continuously happens.
It's forget you. That's a nice way of putting it, De La Hoya. And I loved him as a boxer, but I mean, it's just not a good look at the way that the whole thing transpired. The second
Don't actually fix it. I mean, fix it.
Right. The second point of it all was more so Golovkin. It's at the end where they're both, we had a great fight. Shout to you, shout to me, but even afterwards, the post-fight interviews. Smiling. Do you want a rematch? Yes. Do you want a rematch? Yes.
Well, there's so much money. This is the most money either of them have made in a boxing
match. That's my point. That's my point because
one.
you know that this doesn't even matter.
No. So they knew there was going to be a rematch no matter what.
I was cool with it from Canelo's side, but I wanted to see Triple G be like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Did you see what I just did to this man?" I want a rematch. Yeah, I want a rematch because I'm going to beat the. He
wasn't even worried about it.
No, instead he was just smiling because he knows what he got paid because he
made more money in that fight than he has in any other fight.
And he's going to make even more the second time.
He knows that. Last thing I want to...
Absolutely disgusting. Boxing, this is why you're in the shape that you're in.
Before we do our picks.
Boxing, this is why you're in the shape that you're in. UFC, I mean, they have some questionable shit here and there, but it's nowhere.
Nothing like that. Nothing corrupt
because
like that.
You have the Roger Goodell. You have the guy that you could fall back on and say, what are you doing? Boxing, you don't have...
They don't have a face.
You don't. And it sucks. But guess what? I'm buying the second one, just like I bought the first one.
Not to bring...
Because I'm an idiot.
Not to bring your mood any worse, but something that actually matters because screw those people. They're nobodies and they mean nothing.
Are we on like roast number 12?
We're not, well...
No?
Yes. I mean, we're not going to roast this, but you will eventually get into a roast involving the organization that he worked for. Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh. So it's just going to get depressing.
People in our childhood, WCW, where I basically started watching wrestling. I mean, I watched some WWF and then WWE, obviously, too. But when I was a kid, WCW is just what I watched as a youngster. And
Bobby the Brain Heenan was color commentator.
Huge part of that. So
and absolutely hilarious.
He was great. He was really good. And
funny moments.
Passed away.
Always good for a one-liner.
10 years, did you say, battling cancer? About roughly almost 10 years now, so...
Approximately. He had throat cancer. The messed up humor in it all was that because he had throat cancer... Right. The best talker, period. The best manager, period. The messed up part is they removed his jaw at one point, approximately 10 years ago. And so he couldn't talk for the past decade.
It's rough.
It's messed up irony.
Sad to see him go.
Yeah, definitely. Because he was entertaining. Not even just WCW, but obviously he was with WWF, and even before that he was with the AWA, and he was just the greatest. And I'm not the first person, I won't be the last person to say. Honestly, as a whole, everybody wants to say, The Rock, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Bobby Heenan as a whole, obviously he was a wrestler very early on, which people don't realize, and he was actually decent at. I believe he got injured, which is why he had to stop altogether. Yes, actually, he got injured. I forget exactly what happened, but he couldn't wrestle anymore and became a personality. Overall, the greatest personality, the greatest, entertainer.
The way it was supposed
he was an entertainer before.
On the side of the ring does this.
Right, and it was 15 years later, The Rock became the overall entertainer, but the first overall entertainer,
right.
Not counting Hollywood and all that nonsense, I'm talking within wrestling, was Bobby Heenan. And unless you're, if you're, a young wrestling fan or you don't follow it that much, you don't realize it, but no, Bobby Heenan was, especially pre-WCW, he was just an overall entertainer. And he was excellent at it, the best.
So
shout out to him, R.I.P.
What was it that you had a problem with the WWE as a whole in?
So
at the moment?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm glad you clarified that because I could probably name about 12.
There's always something.
Yeah. But this one's it kind of just piggybacks off of off of the Bobby Heenan situation. And what is this, roast number 4 or 5?
10, 11,
let's
17,
say 4. Let's just go with 4. I don't know. I'm guessing. No, 9. It's more than 2. It's about 12. WWE. So, and it's just messed up because of how deep this whole thing gets. I'm not the first person to bring this up. Shout out to the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castro Show, a wrestling podcast that I listen to regularly. They're actually the first ones to bring it up, and they will let you know that they are because most people haven't brought it up. And they brought it up months ago, a couple years ago. And I started listening probably about 2 years ago, and I was like, and I caught the one clip of this conversation. I was like, you know what, they're kind of right. And now that Bobby Heenan's passing has taken place, it just kind of brings it all together and makes you go, you know what, WWE, screw you for that. That's grimy. WWE is big, especially in 2017. They're big on, the whole cancer thing, the whole be a survivor thing, which nobody's faulting that. The whole, kids with cancer, kids being survivors, rah, let's get together, everybody support Connor's cure. He was a kid that had cancer, he passed away unfortunately, but everybody's saying, okay, let's support his cause. Now he has this cure, this Connor's cure, let's all donate to that. Cool, don't fault that.
Right.
That's in the month of September. The month of October, they're big, they're huge in the breast cancer awareness now. Cool, don't fault that. Bobby Heenan had cancer for at least 10 years.
Almost 10 years,
at least.
Said, yeah, right.
He was pretty much blackballed for the past 10 years.
They haven't talked about him.
They don't bring him. They didn't bring him up.
Bring him in.
They didn't mention him. They didn't bring him in. He wasn't at any of the Hall of Fame ceremonies.
No fundraisers.
There was no fundraiser. You would think that when one of your own, who is regarded as one of the greatest personalities, managers, whatever, speakers, talkers, whatever,
kind of left him out on a limb.
Right. You would think that they would make him the figurehead of the whole picture.
Let's fight this together, yeah.
Just bring him out. This is for lack of better terms, this is the ugly side of cancer.
Right.
But you know what? He still would do appearances. He would still do autograph signings. He was still giving the finger in pictures and just trying to be funny, as best as he could. He was having fun. He was still enjoying life as best as he could in the circumstances. But WWE never even brought him out, let alone mentioned him. It's extremely grimy.
It's a problem.
Nobody knows. In fairness, nobody knows if it was a WWE decision
or if it was his.
Yeah.
But if he was still doing signings and flipping the bird and stuff
everywhere else,
you would assume
it's not a good look on their part. So forget you, WWE, for that. Because conveniently, it's the Macho Man effect. It's the Ultimate Warrior effect. In fairness, they brought Warrior back conveniently about a month prior. But it's the Macho Man effect. It's the, we don't talk about you until you're gone, and then we want to do 3-minute tributes,
right.
And then we want to tweet about you. Everybody in the company tweets and talks about you. I'm just saying, WWE, it's grimy what you did to him. And you had an opportunity to have the figurehead for your company about cancer, since you're so big about fighting this.
Somebody could have made the face of it, literally.
You had it. It's just disgusting to me.
Well,
Grammy. R.I.P. Bobby
I
Heenan.
do not disagree with anything you just said. I fully 110% support that.
Disgusting.
I'm sure there will be something else in the future that we will talk about that Dwight does not like involving WWE, probably under those circumstances.
I would hope not under those circumstances.
Not that far.
I would hope not.
But I'm with you. R.I.P. To the brain. He was definitely a big part of my childhood wrestling. Part of the reason that I enjoyed it so much. So
he's up there with Monsoon, Andre, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, all of them up there.
Yeah, so
shout out to him.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
Football this weekend. Moving on to this weekend here coming up. Mm-hmm. I will be at the beach. So those who pay attention, there will be no show next week.
There will not be.
But we will get our picks out somehow.
Because Dwight doesn't need to be angry all by himself.
We'll discuss that.
Dwight would just roast something for like an hour if that happens. So Dwight just decided he's just not going to do that. And he's just going to take a vacation and just chill. Especially with this whole Bobby Heenan thing that just happened. He's just going to chill. It's for the best.
And there's a lot of roast going on this weekend, so I think
too much. Dwight needs a break.
I think the world of sports Dwight
needs to calm down.
Needs to step away from Dwight for a second because they're all scared. They do not want to say something dumb. This would be the week to do it. If you need to get away with something, you have a week of amnesty right now. Sports, to get away with whatever you want.
I'll forget about it.
Look, shout out to you, Kevin Durant, because the day we recorded, you ended up doing something. Anyways, Dwight, where did you go last week with your picks?
We'll let that go, Cupcake. You live to fight another day. Shout out to you. Last week I went 12-4, which is much better than my 12-5. So overall I'm 22-9. I'm not mad at that.
Kevin Durant out here acting like he can't score 45 in an NBA game on any given night. I went 12-4 as well.
So you're saying I should go undefeated in
football
picks?
I am 24-7 overall so far.
So you got 2 on me. I'm not mad at that. I see. Honestly, I mean it's only week.
It's only week 2.
It's only week 2, but I mean, I feel like last year I was in a hole early on.
Yeah, you were in a hole early on, and you ended up making it close, but I still won the regular season. You won the postseason, though.
I'll take a close game.
Thursday night football.
It just gets worse.
I mean, the problem I have with this is like they scheduled this. Like
the problem I have is that
the NFL
this is what I get to watch.
The NFL knew that week 3 these teams were going to be what they are, and they really thought they could shove that one down our throats. I get the week 1 one because that's a playoff matchup. I get even week 2 because you know what, Cincinnati.
Week 2 was not.
People thought maybe Cincinnati would be better, and the Texans at least were a playoff team last year.
Excuse me, week 2 was not.
This week you have the Niners at home hosting
St. Louis. Oh, I mean LA.
Division rivals, right up the road from each other.
Why? Prime time. You know it ain't on CBS. You know it's gonna be on freaking NFL.
That's on the NFL Network, yeah. But you still get Chris Collinsworth, so don't worry, Dwight. I know you'd be scared of that one.
Who's Chris?
Anthony. Your favorite.
Anthony.
Your favorite color analyst, Anthony. Mike Tirico is the play-by-play on Thursday night, so that's always fun.
I like Mike Tirico.
I like Tirico a lot.
I feel bad for him because he gets his BS, but you know.
I'm taking Jared Goff and the Rams. They showed me a lot week 1 against a bad Colts team, and they stuck in there with Washington. And the Niners have not showed me anything because all they did was get beat pretty good at home by the Panthers. And, I mean, they played good against a reeling Seattle team, but we'll get into that. So I'm taking the Rams.
I picked the Rams, and I agree with you. Brian Hoyer had 99 yards last week.
That's a good Seattle defense.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going the Rams. Only because of the week 1 performance.
And Todd Gurley, I think, last week really stepped up. He played really well. So I think their offense is going to be able to do something against the Rams.
Against the 49ers.
Right, against the 49ers. What's the difference? I'm the Colts coach, Pagano, calling teams the wrong name. I'm picking the Rams. Your boy, Joe Flacco. 2-0.
He's not my boy. He's your boy.
Taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Is it in England? I'm assuming because it's a 9:30 game.
See.
Okay, that's Hispanic, but all right. I like the effort.
Can your favorite quarterback, Joe Flacco, go 3-0?
I mean, It's in England, and it's against the Jaguars potentially.
Just think of this. They start off the season against
garbage.
The Bengals. Then they play
garbage.
The Browns. And then they play
trash.
The Jaguars.
Oh, trash. It's a little better than garbage.
How did they get so lucky to start the season off like that? They got
four buys.
They got 4 preseason games, and then they got 3 more preseason games. Like, the NFL is not right for giving them 7 preseason games. One, nobody attends these
got
games.
4 buys. You might be onto something about this holiday. Might be good under the division.
They're gonna start off 3-0.
I agree.
I got them beating Jacksonville.
I agree. I'm not confident in it, but I picked them. God, it makes me sick.
Carolina's offense.
They're not good. They're really not good.
All right, no, I'm not even saying
they're gonna be the best 3-0.
I'm literally saying
they'll be the worst 3-0 team in the history of being 3-0.
They started off 3-0. I mean, hey, let the cookie crumble, right?
I hope Jacksonville wins. I'll take the L.
You'd rather be lucky than good, right?
Yeah. I'll take the L at this point.
Carolina's offense needed a jump start. They didn't score a whole lot against the Niners, but they won. They scored a whole lot less against the Bills, and they won.
I don't understand the Saints.
But the way you get it upstart is by playing Saints.
I don't understand the Saints. I don't understand what's going on.
The last 4 years coming into the season, they have been 27th and lower in passing defense all 4 years. I am taking Carolina. They gave up 4 touchdowns in the first quarter, 3 through the air to Tom Brady last week. I do not see Carolina. And Cam was hitting receivers. It was when they were getting in the red zone they were not scoring. Cam actually looked a little better in the pocket this week than he did last week, and he ran 3 or 4 times for 10 or 15 yards. So that had a lot to do with it. If he can look that good in the pocket this week against New Orleans, it doesn't take much to beat them. That's why I'm taking them. Plus, the way their defense looked through the first 2 weeks, I know it was against the Niners offense, which Shanahan doesn't have a whole lot of weapons, but he's still a good coordinator. And the Bills have weapons, even though don't believe in them being here. They held the first 2 teams to less than, I don't think they've given up a touchdown all season. So,
right.
I think with those factors, Carolina wins. I think they beat New Orleans.
I took Carolina as well. The Saints are just disappointing to me. Like I don't understand.
Saints on the road as well. They're not ever really that good on the road in the first place, and their offense didn't move the ball against Minnesota.
I don't get it. They really are the Saints. Nobody thought they were going to win a Super Bowl or anything. I didn't think they were going to be a first or even second place in their division. But the fact that they are 0-2 right now, and the fact that I am confidently picking them to go 0-3, it's absolutely disappointing. I'm going Carolina because it's the only thing that makes sense.
We got into a fun debate earlier about the Saints offensive line. Do you think they have to use Adrian Peterson this week, or else they lose him basically for the rest of the season? Or
I mean, lose him for the rest of the season.
Like he checks out.
He checked out after week 1.
You think he's already just kind of done with them?
I think he checked out after week 1, honestly. Which is a shame, which is why everybody said after 1 game, trade him.
The Giants have won 1 game against the Eagles in the last 5 years. It was a playoff game. But for that reason, the Giants have not scared me for a long time. I'm taking Philly again because I think Philly has played solid through the first 2 games, and the way the Giants have played, I don't know if they can even really maybe even beat the Jets right now. That's a joke. But the Jets in the last, I think it was 8 games, have outscored the Giants. The Giants have...
I saw that. That's wild.
The Giants have not scored over 20 points in their last 8 games.
I would never have guessed that.
This is the 4th time in 5 years that they started off 0-2, and in the last 5 years, Eli Manning has more interceptions
really? So you really got them
than he does. Yeah, I do. I have the Eagles winning. Look, this is obviously the NFL, and this is the Giants. So they could put up 45 on Sunday, and I wouldn't come back here from vacation super shocked. Like, obviously.
Right.
But the way the Eagles have played against them over the last 5 years, combined with the way the Giants have played in the beginning of seasons lately, I just think the way the Eagles played the first 2 weeks and the way the Giants played the first 2 weeks alone this season as well, I'm taking Philly. All of the signs say Philly. Yeah. But that's when the NFL goes the other way usually.
Definitely. I mean, if the Giants would have actually won this past Monday, I'd probably pick the Giants. But at this rate, I think Philly. No, I don't think it's hard to say. I think Philly definitely should have this in the bag. I think it's a better team overall. As of today, I don't know what's wrong with the Giants. I don't understand why.
Brandon Marshall not catching, as we talked about, the Eli factor.
I don't understand. I can't see the Giants going 0-3, but at the same time, I can't see Philly losing to them even more. So I picked the Eagles.
Especially at home. Carson Wentz has played his best football at home.
It's also a big divisional game, so I mean...
Very big divisional game.
Giants might win, but I don't have money on that.
Miami taking the Jets. Mm-hmm. Miami doesn't have one game in Miami because their first game was supposed to be Miami and then it got canceled. Mm-hmm. They don't play in Miami until the middle of October because their one home game, other than the first one that got rained out, is in London. So Miami taking on the Jets, right? Isn't that weird? They're taking on the Jets. I have them winning though. I was thinking about this.
This man's really about to go in depth for this game. I picked the Dolphins at the end for me.
What did the Jets defense... They traded Sheldon Richardson away, right? Mm-hmm. I get that they got a wide receiver who scored their only 2 touchdowns last week. But it looked to me that they needed defense more than they needed any offense. I mean, offensively, you have a better chance of winning a game if your defense can hold the other team to 14 points than you do if your offense can score only 17. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you upgraded your offense to where they're going to score 50 points a game.
Hello, is this Revis Island? Is that who they got to call?
I mean, he's...
Who else do you have if you're the Jets?
So we're taking Miami, as you said, Miami as well.
Yeah.
Cutler could be 2-0. You were trashing him. That's not your boy.
It's definitely not my boy.
He has one more win than Phillip Rivers does this year already. Tampa Bay, Jameis. They destroyed Chicago, and Glennon's return to... Figured out where Glennon came from. He was the backup for Tampa last year.
I played our boy Joe, and I was a San Diego Chargers. I beat
Mike Glennon threw a pick 6.
Buccaneers with Jameis Winston, so shout out to our boy Joe.
Mike Glennon threw a pick 6 in his return to Tampa Bay, so that went well. They put up 45 on Chicago. I don't know if they do that against Minnesota in Minnesota. I definitely know that's not happening.
That's rough.
I think they win. I think this is one of those show-me games. This is a Jameis Winston against a very good defense. Sam Bradford did not play last week. I think he'll play this week. So that's going to give their defense a little test as well on the other end if he plays as well as he did the first week. But I think this is a Jameis Winston with that offense, as lethal as they are, show-me game on the road against a team that I would consider a top 10 defense-ish, in that area realm.
5.
Great, even better. So show me, Jim. I'm picking Tampa.
Are we just going to pick every game the same? Because I have Tampa Bay as well. So next. Because this is getting ridiculous. We every single game the same?
We definitely pick my next game the same. Atlanta taking on Detroit.
Falcons.
You not taking your boy?
I love how you classified him as my boy, but all right, because you don't want to add a big deal about his big contract. All right, I hear you.
I'm taking Atlanta as well.
6,
I'm
7,
taking Atlanta as well. Right. In Detroit. No, I agree. But Atlanta is a different team on the road than they are at home. I still think they win. Cool. Houston taking on New England. Deshaun Watson
agree on this one.
Is 1-0 on the road. 1-0 in his
Patriots.
I got the Patriots all day.
Patriots. Don't even stop it. Patriots.
Pittsburgh taking on Chicago.
Steelers.
Steelers about to go 3-0. Quiet 3-0, but they're about to go 3-0.
Yeah, it is a quiet.
Quiet 3-0.
It's the Bears. It is quiet when you play the Bears.
And Cleveland was one of them, and then Minnesota didn't start their quarterback in the other one. But quiet 3-0.
Steelers.
I mean, 3-0. Cleveland taking on the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm shaking my head because he's really going to pick Cleveland.
Jacoby Brissett played way better for the Colts than I could have ever expected somebody to do to come in 1 month into the season.
You said earlier to me that there was one game that you picked differently, and I called it immediately. And he's going to justify it when you could just say it. You don't need to justify. I don't need a breakdown of the Cleveland. Did you pick Cleveland?
The Colts almost beat Arizona,
yes or no?
So it was really hard. Yeah, of course I picked Cleveland.
I picked the Colts.
Because you picked the Colts. I knew you were going to pick Colts. We needed to go different, and I knew there was nothing we were going to go different on Dwight, so I literally did it for that reason. Because
I do not need a breakdown of either team. Next.
Denver taking on Buffalo, also in the 1 o'clock time slot.
He's serious too. He really. The Browns and the coach and the Colts on third down with 15 minutes left, 12 minutes left in the game in the third quarter. This is what they do.
Oh, I thought he had a stat for me. I was so ready for Dwight to throw a good stat.
I do not. Nobody needs that.
I thought we were going to do a
walk-off. If anybody's listening to this show at this point, do not need that.
Denver and Buffalo, you know how I feel about teams coming from the 4 o'clock time slot to the 1 o'clock time slot, but I just don't think Buffalo's offense... I think defense travels, and I don't think Buffalo's offense can score enough. I'm picking Denver.
that trash game that we just talked about is really going to be the only one we have different. I'm picking the Broncos. They're clearly the better team. Next. You see how I could just summarize this?
Seattle taking on Tennessee.
We might have picked something different on this. No, we didn't. Because you don't trust Seattle at this point.
Seattle's offensive line is abysmal.
I got the Titans.
I think that you, myself, and one of your neighbors could probably line up and get to Russell Wilson.
Yeah. They struggled against the 49ers, dude. The 49ers. The Seattle Seahawks.
Russell Wilson just got it done, and I mean, I guess it's not super impressive against the Niners, but Russell Wilson had to go get it done again as Superman. How long can you play this game?
Yeah, apparently there was big on that. Tennessee put up some numbers against that Jacksonville defense is so good.
I got Tennessee winning this one.
Actually,
but I think it's going to be like
statistically, the Titans' numbers weren't that great. It was just the overall points that it was like, okay.
Well, it was only 13-3 at halftime. I mean, they put up most of those points in the second half.
Which is fine.
I got Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be close, like a 13-9 game or a 17-10 game, something like that. Cincinnati taking on Green Bay. Does Marvin Lewis and co rate the ship?
No, he just gets more of a reason to get fired. I got the Packers.
I got the Packers as well, even if they don't get those tackles playing. I think the Packers have enough power to stop them if the Bengals play anywhere near the way they did at home. They have no shot on the road.
Watch them blow them out, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the NFL works, no question.
All right.
Kansas City taking on the Chargers in that soccer stadium that the Chargers could not sell out.
I got the Chiefs. They're just a better team.
I got the Chiefs as well. Overall,
there's no reason to argue it.
Offense and defensively, they're just better.
Absolutely.
The 8 o'clock game could be interesting.
Football. No, it won't.
Captain Kirk.
Negative.
Game-winning touchdown last week.
I got the guy that got time to kneel and have all this energy. I'm taking the Raiders. Just again, it's the same situation, just a better team overall.
I'm taking the Raiders as well, even though their defense.
You literally picked the worst game to go against each other with.
Well, there's one more game.
Well, we know he doesn't like Carson Palmer, so we know we both took the Cowboys. So here we are. We literally
the Monday night game. I took the Cowboys. Yeah, that's why I took that game. I tried to tell you. I took one game that I didn't even fully get on.
That's so horrible. Wow.
And watch. This is going to be a hard look. This is how the NFL works. So many upsets this week. Many upsets this week.
Well, if we're the same, it doesn't matter. So.
We're going to tweet out our picks for next week. Or put them on Facebook. We'll figure out a way to get our picks out.
Well, nobody follows either, but more so Facebook.
For ourselves, at least.
Yeah, I'll put it out on Facebook.
We're going to get our picks out.
Send them to me, I'll send them out, or vice versa.
We'll figure it out. So...
We're not doing a show next week.
Shout out to the beach. I'm going to be there all next week.
Shout out to you.
Enjoy. Feet in the sand, watching the Eagles game in a bar. That's going to be exciting.
I hope you and the family enjoy.
Appreciate that.
Have a drink for me.
Absolutely.
Please do. Dwight needs a break because otherwise he's just going to have like 12 more roasts to do by himself.
Dwight,
not a good call.
In 2 weeks, we will literally be talking about the NHL, the NBA about to start, and baseball will be in the playoffs when we get back. So I'm excited for all of this. Football. Enjoy your next 2 Sundays, everybody. Thanks for watching JD Sports out.
Peace out, humanoids.